Morning. How are we all? Nope, I'm not a warrior queen. She's off because personal reasons, a little bit emotional, so we wish her well. Um, but I gotta say, it feels good to be back in the hosting seat on Coffee Morning. I haven't done that for a bit. But today we are talking about addiction. Like not just there's a lot of things regarding addiction, stigmas around it. So we're gonna bring on Kerry Duval's first ever guest, Jason Bishop. He's got heaps to talk about surrounding alcohol, mental health, and alcohol, all sorts. So all we've got to say is please share, please subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Facebook, and we'll see you in about 60 seconds. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Don't you just love the new set out?
It's very good. Yeah, it is.
It is, isn't it? It is. That just shows growth within us. Right. I think we should just dive right into it. Why do you think people turn to these? Because obviously we know life's a choice anyway, but when it comes to not just alcohol but drugs as well, what do you think?
I think we don't know. We don't know how to deal with stress. We don't know how to deal with our anxiety. Yeah, and we do believe it's what's happening in the external environment that's causing it.
Yeah.
So from my own experience, I mean, once I found that I could quickly change how I could feel, then it was my go-to thing. I mean, I had no understanding of how the brain actually worked and how it associated these things with the quickest way of feeling good.
Yeah.
Right. And how the whole addiction thing actually works. But when we are chasing pleasure and we're trying to get away from pain, particularly in the situation that we found ourselves in the last couple of years now, where whether you like it or not, you're turning on your television. Although people say I don't watch the news, they're watching the same narrative, which is being forced into everybody. And I'm not disagreeing with, they can believe what they want, but then to get all to overthink that and believe that to get a drink, get wine or a can or a bottle, and have a drink and think, oh, now I feel better, and that's the way to deal with it. It's a dangerous path to go down.
It is, and obviously talking from experience as well. I grew up in a toxic environment, and from the age of 11, I was actually not just forced it, but like forced the information, but I thought it was okay to actually turn to alcohol because I was actually taught and brainwashed to believe the bottom of a can, bottle, whatever, was cure to everything.
It's odd, right? Because my parents, they drink very, very little. If 3 pints for my father was too much, and a glass of wine for my mother, she might have 2. Although, I mean, if we go further down the line of my grandfather and my great-grand, they all drank. So if we are looking at genetics and whatnot, right? But I wasn't taught that alcohol was the way you had to have fun and it was the way to deal with things. I just found it out. I lost my grandfather at 14. Yeah. And that's about the time when obviously we're changing chemically anyway. Our brains are changing. We are changing. We're becoming adults, and I found alcohol because that's what we do when we're in our teens, invariably. And I am kind of, I don't know, immediately or pretty quickly, you understand how it changes how you feel.
It does.
You don't have to feel the way that you are feeling about life.
Yeah. See, I don't know why I'm laughing about it, because it really is serious. But I still remember like it was yesterday, where not only did I come home from school, I was 13 at the time, and I came home, and I hate saying this, but my own mother, this was about 2:30 in the afternoon, and she already downed a bottle of wine. I'm like, okay. But then I actually grew up thinking that was okay. That was part of life. And literally a week later, I went out with my friends, and I came home pissed. And I was, because I thought that was okay.
Yeah, but it's normal, isn't it?
It is.
Because if you've seen that growing up, that's just been completely normalized.
Yeah.
It's not odd in any way. But I think, it's addiction, isn't it? Because it's not just alcohol. Because I was chatting to my dad about it. How easy it is now for us to keep buying stuff because we're not feeling so good.
Yeah.
So very, very quickly we can pick our phone up now, and we've got a delivery coming to the door before we have our glass of wine this evening. Yeah, and if you don't start asking yourself, why are you doing these things to change the way that you feel, very quickly you're reliant on doing these things to change the way you feel.
Exactly. And now, obviously, Kerry did hand me some information here, but we all know what statistics are like, and we all know they're always a year behind. But it says here, 14,291 young people between the age of 13 and 16 have accessed alcohol and drug services from April 2020.
Yeah.
So, got out what the figures are now.
Yes, well, they are. They're never up to date, are they? As you say.
No.
But why is that? Is that because they were doing it before, and now they found they're doing more? Because their coping mechanism now. Yeah, because I mean, I obviously, knowing about the release of dopamine and the threshold and the way that obviously if we have drugs and we have alcohol, if we go shopping, doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Addiction is addiction, yeah.
Yeah.
But once we have so much of a substance and our brain gets an overload of dopamine, the brain starts shutting off and cutting off the receptors for it. So now we need more of the substance to get the same results.
I agree. agree.
Is their intake gone up because they feel maybe they're under more pressure? I don't know.
I definitely believe. Go on.
No, go on. Sorry.
No, I definitely believe that ever since all this addictions actually come out, do I say obsession as well with drugs and alcohol? Crime rates and antisocial behaviour within the young people have actually skyrocketed.
I don't know, because I was thinking about this actually. I was talking to a friend about it yesterday, and I was talking about. I mean, I spoke about it when I talked to Kerry when I crashed the car when I was 16. And I was talking to my friend, and I mean, I've posted about it, I've talked about it. I haven't really talked about it. And I think one of the things I was getting out of that was it was making me feel alive. Because I'd taken the car out a couple of times. I hadn't done it before. I hadn't done it previously. But again, quickly, I found it was giving me that buzz. It was giving me the high. And my friend said, yeah, he understands what I mean. But I don't think, I mean, there's suddenly things changed, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Overnight, all of a sudden, we got this thing is with us. And yeah, as you said, we got lockdowns, we've got restrictions, we've got, You can't go out and do what you want. You can't see your friends. You can't, and people are just not used to it.
No.
I mean, I think obviously the younger generation spend a lot of time on their phones more so than we do, and we're pretty bad and pretty good, whichever way you look at it, at using our phones. Yeah. But it doesn't surprise me that people are acting out of the norm, because their chemistry is all different.
That's true.
I mean, we're not taught, I don't think, to deal with these things. We're not taught how it works.
See, I have noticed though, when the kids start acting up, people like in school, they always question, right, what's going on at home? They always do, but 9 times out of 10, nothing's going on at home. It's actually the pressure of what's going on in schools.
Possibly. I mean, the starting point has to be the home, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think. I mean, I. It's not like I didn't enjoy school, but I never really got on with it because the whole thing, the pressure, there was pressure enough on anyway because of. I mean, again, I was talking to somebody the other day and they said we're so busy, trying to project this wonderful experience of life that we're all having, until suddenly something comes along to upset what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got the peer pressure, you've got the pressure of all the testing and the exams and keeping up with the other guys and maybe what's happening at home, but nobody's actually teaching anybody how to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Come get you, Lucas. Come on. Kids are not educating.
No, I just don't think that, nobody ever explains how you deal with these things in a healthy way.
I agree. I really do. And I don't believe there's enough support out there surrounding this as well. Now, fair enough, when adults have their drinking problem, especially like around Christmas as well, they do up the stacks when it comes, or even New Year's Eve, they raise the stats when it comes to alcohol. Because as we said before, well, as you said before we came on, there's just no socializing when it comes to drinking. They just drink because they want to.
I think I probably socialize more now that I don't drink than when I was drinking, in the end anyway.
Yeah.
But I think we've been sold on that idea. And as I say, it didn't come from my parents, but somewhere along the line, I learned that you can't have a good time, you can't have a good laugh without having a good drink.
I agree.
I mean it's not quite that straightforward, but
no.
I learned, although I can't retract what I said about it, it changed the way I felt. It allowed me to feel differently, yeah. But quite quickly, that whole thing of, if I do that, I'll have a good time, came into life, yeah. A better way of putting it. And I think we learn that. We're sold on this thing. If you don't do that, then you can't have a good time. And you're the odd one for not doing it.
Yeah.
And then you may get ostracized by your friends, by your group, because you won't go along with what everyone is doing. And everyone is different, and some are more susceptible to addiction than others. Because I don't believe everyone's an addict. And that is shown in brain scans.
That's true. That's true.
Right. So the midbrain lights up if you're an addict. The frontal cortex lights up if you are just a user. Because you think about it.
Yeah. See, I remember this was a number of years ago now. I think we're talking about 6 years ago, maybe. I actually drank a bottle of vodka and I felt it. I really did, because I ended up stopping breathing because of it, and I ended up being in hospital overnight. And obviously the doctors, nurses, they wanted to do tests on me, and I was actually close to needing an operation because alcohol got into my my liver. and I was on that where I couldn't eat for 24 hours. I can't remember what it's called, but I ended up on a drip, and because I was more concerned regarding my kids and my family at home, I didn't care about myself, which that's my mistake. And because my son was in crisis and he needed me, I discharged myself the next day.
Right. But you're just saying you're not saying you have a problem with alcohol. You just
No.
for some reason decided to drink a bottle
Yeah.
of vodka, which is
a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, I don't drink vodka anymore.
No. Because addiction is neurological. It changes the brain.
Yeah, I do admit though, I used to drink heavy, really heavy, to the point where even the next day I was still pissed.
Yeah, but I think I know people that drink heavily. They may be alcohol dependent, but I'm not sure if they're actually addicted.
No, it's more of a I wouldn't say a hobby, more of a maybe a habit.
Yeah, I mean, I often think because I was in that environment for such a long time, guys it was the thing on the way home from work. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And then if you make an excuse or not for it, you say, oh, I've had a bad day, so I need a drink. And you think, well, you don't really. It's an habitual thing. You don't want to go home to your wife, your kids. You want to come here. You want to chill out, relax, have 2-3 pints, whatever it is. But it's I think definitely it is habitual. We do that.
Yeah.
But then it goes maybe a little bit further where we're not just having one or two. And I think again, then you listen to I don't drink at home. I only drink here. I lived in that world. I don't move from the bar, so I've got nothing to hide. And then other people would say, well, I don't drink. I'm not in the pub all day. I only have a few at home.
Yeah.
And we try then and justify exactly what we're doing, where we're doing it, and if we've got an issue and if we haven't got an issue. And we're skirting around the fact that all of us really are just drinking too much.
Yeah, and obviously, I put a disclaimer out, and this is regarding the French, especially. So, but I want to know, what is your view on children as young as, I think is it 12, where when they're having something to eat, they're allowed a glass of wine?
In France and that?
Yeah.
Well, I think
12. Yeah, they have to be with the parents. But the thing is, though, what kind of message is that sending to the kids?
Right. Well, leave what's happening with them growing out of it, yeah, and the development.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spoken to a friend about this actually. I think because I'm massively into this relationship with things, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into our relationship with alcohol. My relationship with alcohol was never good, ever. Right? It was from day one. It was never good. Yeah. But if anything, they are being taught that it's not big, it's not clever. It's just a drink with food. They have a different relationship with it, and they from what I can see, they tend to look on it differently. Whereas everyone I kind of knew, as soon as we could get drink, we drank as much as we could.
Yeah.
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 Because our attitude to it was very much more like, oh yeah, look what we can do now. So aside from what it's doing to a child's actual development, which I'm not 100% sure what's going on, so I can't comment on it. But if we're going to talk about teaching children that there's no need to go berserk with drink, there's no need to have so much that you can't stand up. You can just enjoy it. You can have it with food. Have a little bit of respect for it. Understand what it can potentially do. I mean, their culture is very different as well.
It is, and that's why Kerry's just put that comment. It was you, weren't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that because I don't think we tend to do that.
No, we don't. And there's that phrase, isn't it, where they constantly invite people to try and drink them under the table and all that. I'm like, in my view, I think that's their ego saying that.
I saw ego.
It is, isn't it?
Whatever it. I mean, I lived in that world. I mean, all through my kind of drinking thing, and I can't say, oh, it was rubbish. I hated it. Always hated it, right? Because it didn't. Because it allowed me to laugh and joke and be who I wanted to be. I always had that. Oh, I was drunk. I never did anything outrageous anyway, right? But it was always, oh, I was drunk, didn't know what I was doing. And you can just be a little bit more like who you want to be without actually being yourself and showing the world who you truly are.
Yeah.
Right. But my friends, we would always drink as much as possible and all try and outdrink each other. That's what we did.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I remember growing up where obviously when I went out, and I didn't go to the pubs. I literally, and I remember this because I throughout school, I had I went to New Year's parties, but it was at house. But what I did is obviously I got the bus to, or even walked to where I needed to go. Went to the shop, picked up a crate of what I needed to buy, and I just carried it to the house. That's what I did.
Yeah.
That just shows sensible a little bit because obviously I know they're up in that game when it comes to spiking people.
It's still, I think it's still all, for me anyway, it all goes back to what is your relationship with it like?
I agree.
Yeah. Because if you can't respect what that stuff can potentially do to you, like I wasn't eating and none of us get any sleep, mind. If we're drinking any quantities, we don't get any sleep, whatever we think.
Yeah.
So that is a real downside. We're likely going to be dehydrated. So if we are drinking any quantity, we're not functioning properly, right? Because if we're dehydrated, we don't function correctly anyway. We just don't. But it goes back to if you haven't got a good relationship with that stuff, you've got to sort of go, well, right, I got to walk away from it when you can. Because I say, by the time I was 23, we went on our first British Lions tour. And we drank like for just over 3 weeks, all day, every day. Yeah, and you're thinking, if you can do that at 23, you got an issue.
Yeah.
But living in denial of you have absolutely no issue at all. Yeah, you're not really looking to do anything about it. No. Although if you are addicted, there's nothing you really can do about it anyway until you've actually said, I have an issue.
Yeah, I always say the first step into recovery is admit there is a problem there.
Well, at 30, Adam, right? I mean, I'm in a hospital bed for a week. I'm on an intravenous drip. I come out and I had massive issues, huge issues in the business, in life. I wrote this in a post the other day. But I had no intention of doing anything about them, yeah? And then I went back to the office and it all started again. I had no more different tools in the box. I had no more skills of trying to deal with myself and the situation, the people, interpersonal relationships, all this good stuff, yeah? The actual work itself, which I love, but, it could be stressful. When money's involved and people can't work, right? And you're trying to piece all this together, and didn't take long before I was like, oh, I'm drinking. It's the only thing I know how to do, right? So, and I've said this in a video, I'm quite open about it. So I could have made a choice, I could have understood, but I didn't, right? So at 40 then, I'm now almost dead in an ICU.
Yeah.
Right. So if I can then get out of that hospital bed after 7 weeks and think, oh God, I got to change all this. You think, well, does it really need to get to the point where somebody is so unwell, or they've damaged their body, yeah, or their life is just completely it's destruction everywhere, before they say, do you know what? This shopping, this drinking, the drug, really?
Exactly.
But because we're being run, the cortex, the human brain, the prefrontal cortex, it's not involved.
No.
We're being run by the midbrain. Right?
I agree. And I want to touch on the where you said that you could have made a choice. Everything we do is a choice.
Of course it is.
Yeah, it is. And I can't stress this enough, but 9 times out of 10, we always go for the negative side.
But we're wired to look for the negative things, yeah.
Yes.
But there's a quite a simplistic word. It's called responsibility.
Yeah.
Right. And it took all of that and all this work I've done on myself, yeah. Because what people don't understand is where I see so many people focusing on the actual substance. It isn't about the substance.
No.
Right. Because I mean, I was laughing again with my father. He's got a stable upstairs in his house. All my Ralph Lauren t-shirts that I've given him, some of them I've never worn. I had every color. I had boots. I've got the same boots in all different colors. Cycling jerseys. Shopping. When I came out of hospital the last time, I was spending so much money going shopping all the time. Thousands and thousands of pounds, yeah. And I'm not drinking anymore, but I don't really understand what's going on. It just makes me feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. And then I start cycling properly, and I'm doing 300 or 400 miles a week. Yeah. So this is this relationship thing I'm talking about. So my relationship now to cycling and shopping has gone completely berserk.
Yeah.
Because I'm lacking, right? I'm lacking self-awareness. I'm not aware of what's going on. And then suddenly you have a conversation with your friend, and she says, well, why do you want to do that much mileage again? And I just sort of went, well, I don't know. And then you think, well, do you know what? There were some massive positives out of what I did. But you can't help thinking, well, did I really need to do that? And did I need to go to that extreme? Like another friend of mine, I was out on the bike with my friend. He goes, yeah, but you are where you are today because of what you've done. And that he's saying, yeah, but I get that, and I do understand that. But everything was taken to the extreme. Right? So the constant is me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and I see a lot of people now, they're saying they want to stop drinking and taking drugs, and they want to stop doing this, that, and they're focusing on the substance.
Yeah.
They're not focusing on why they're drinking it, or is it an issue? Are they in denial?
See, growing up as well, and this weren't like illegal drugs and anything like that. These was prescription drugs. I was actually addicted to them, and growing up. I was in and out of hospital every 6 months because of it. To the point now, I don't take any sort of medication.
No.
I don't.
And
I've gone God knows how long without one. I have actually turned that, and I've looked for an alternative method, and that's essential oils. I've gone for that, and that's actually a lot beneficial to what a prescription tablet does.
Well, we are our own pharmacy, mind.
Oh, we are, aren't we? We are.
No, but seriously, I mean, when I broke my clavicle, yeah, I walked around before the plate I had put in it, and then with the plate in it. I think when I broke it in Italy, I took one painkiller, maybe 2 tablets, right? And then I was like, oh, I don't want that. I don't need it. And it genuinely didn't hurt. Yeah, because we've been sold on this thing that we must have that. But a lot of the time it's because you're focusing on it and you're saying, oh, it's in it, right? And we must have this little pill because otherwise if we don't have it, and you say, well, no, I don't agree. I've not taken a tablet. I take vitamins, yeah.
Mm.
And other than that, I get everything out of food and really not stressing about stuff, because the way the stress response obviously works. Yeah. So, I mean, alcohol, the stress response, being so highly stressed, the narrative, illness, the immune system, autonomic nervous system, it's all shutting off. And then you say to people, you do understand that by putting alcohol into your system, your body is now fighting that stuff, as opposed to being able to fight whatever is out there.
Yeah.
But then when you look at, epigenetics and the environment, because all this stuff is highly important, but we again have been sold on it's what's happening out there that is causing us to feel the way we feel.
I agree. And I know I'm going a little bit off topic here, but a couple of weeks ago, I actually sprained my ligament. And I tried everything, but I never took any medication. And I had to force myself up to the hospital. I didn't want to go, and they kept trying to offer me medication, and I'm like, I don't want it. But now, fair enough, it's not 100%, but I can walk on it again.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you look at any of the biologists, the neuroscientists, all the guys that talk about our body, our health, our mind, because I mean, since I stopped drinking, I knew when I was younger what playing rugby and sport and that sort of stuff, how it made me feel. Yeah. So, I mean, I was talking about who I could be for many years, right? And until in the end, I just wasn't talking much. And there's reasons for that, I think. I mean, like I said, I think I was just shutting down completely.
Mm.
Yeah. I can't remember what it's called now. It'll come to me now. So I'm what was I saying?
About your body.
Oh yeah, so sorry. So it was a fully, I must eat properly, I must sleep, I must hydrate myself, I must exercise, I must do something else to take up the time of the alcohol. I must do something that gives me that endorphins, the dopamine. I mean, I knew nothing about oxytocin, dose, yeah. So dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin. I didn't know all this stuff, yeah. I just kind of went, this is what I need to do. So I've admitted I've got an issue. I mean, I've almost died, yeah. So there's an issue,
yeah.
Right? Then you think, well, I have to change this perception I have of myself, right, and life, because it just didn't work, yeah. So, and then you think, well, now I am not living in alignment with any of my values, and I've got all these beliefs about myself and life and right. So I got to change all these things. You got to go out and do something. Yeah. So as we are doing these things, we're getting our joy and pleasure and things from other things. But what we're also doing, if we are prepared to then address the issues, the underlying issues, which is important for me, and right, because otherwise we'll go back to our thing that we know, our addiction.
Yeah.
Because whether people like it or not, just because you're drinking, let's say 10 pints and they're drinking 5 every night, yeah, we're both drinking too much.
That's right.
But we love to point the finger and say, but look at him over there.
Doing the blame game. But really, the blame's on you.
But
because
so it means we're not taking responsibility. So we're not saying, oh, I'm drinking a bit much as well, mine. We're saying, but look at him.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you keep doing that. And all of a sudden, you've got an issue. You've got a real issue. Because it's not 5 anymore. Then it's 6. It's not 1 bottle of wine. It's 2. Because it's, I mean, a bottle of wine is what is it? 2 glasses, 2.5 glass. I don't know what it is. I don't drink wine, but it don't take long to drink a bottle of wine.
You can get 3 glasses out of a bottle of wine.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take long to drink one of those.
No.
And I always laughed because I said, those stopper things that you buy, the ornate ones, for the bottle of wine. So when was the last time you used one of those? Have you ever put that in your bottle of wine? Because if you've got half a bottle of wine left, you'll go, I'll just drink it. I won't put it in the fridge. We'll open another one tomorrow. Again, exactly. It's this whole thing of our relationship with it.
Yeah.
And most people will say, I haven't got a problem. Yeah. And it's like, and then we were talking about dry January and that, the amount of people, I could do February if I wanted to as well, as they're picking up their pint of lager. You think, well, do February then.
Exactly. What I have noticed is with all the people saying after they've had a piss up is, I'm never drinking again. I'm never touching that stuff again. Or when it comes to New Year's resolutions, I'm gonna go sober and not drink. I'm gonna quit drinking. They never do.
You got to mean it.
Exactly.
I can't remember saying that. I got to be honest. I had no intention.
Yeah.
I absolutely no intention of stopping, because I mean I've written this as well, right? It would be a lie if I said I didn't enjoy drinking when it all started. And my friend and I were talking about this yesterday, right? But it got to a point where I enjoyed nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing. Life was just shit.
Yeah.
Right? It was, is it the right way? I don't really know how to word it, but I hadn't given up on walking away from the business and all this sort of stuff. But I just given up on life. And now the more I know about it, I'm not saying that was a conscious choice. Yeah, because of the way that the stress response works.
Yeah.
Right? Because trauma and the drinking and trauma's held in the body and trapped energy and stressing forever you can't keep doing it.
No.
You can't keep suppressing how you feel using some substance. Eventually it'll come and get you. You can't run forever.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, obviously, what we are saying is, if you want to drink, fine, drink. But if you don't. But drink responsible and take responsibility for it.
Yeah, whatever that is to you. Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's your choice.
Of course it is.
But the whole thing, like you say, right? Well, I'm going to stop. I'm going to this. I'm going to that. Well, that means nothing.
No.
Right. And then I hear people, I only drink on such and such a day, and then I have God knows how much. You think, well, really? If you're that worried about it, well, why don't you try and cut back a bit?
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not. I don't get the conversation with people really. How much people really are drinking? Because I mean. So a friend of mine told me, people are watching your videos and they're not happy because you're telling them not to drink. I've not once told anyone not to drink.
Exactly.
I don't judge people for drinking. And if I see friends on a summer's day going for a drink, yeah, I'll say, well, enjoy yourselves. And if I didn't mean it, I wouldn't say it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. It can't make any difference to me what other people are doing. As I said to my friend yesterday, and I said to my other friend, I'd prefer they didn't drink as a friend, because I know what it can do.
Yeah.
And I know what drugs can do. Yeah, because I mean, drugs is something I haven't really spoken about. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't addicted to drugs, but most heavy drinkers, they've tried drugs, and because it just, if you're out at 11 o'clock in the morning, you want to be out at 2 o'clock in the evening, in the following morning, invariably, you're going to take something.
Yeah, well, you say you haven't spoken enough about drugs. Here's the platform.
No, but like I say, I mean, it would be. I didn't really know how to bridge that subject because it wasn't something that I was heavily into. Yeah, but when you look at, I mean, we were laughing yesterday about how rough you feel after amphetamine. Yeah, dirty, horrible drug. Yeah, and you'd just be in bits the following day, and then you'd be thinking, "Oh, I want more of that stuff now," because you're just so rough. Yeah, and cocaine and ephedrine. I've never been so ill in my life. I mean, Ultimate Orange. Yeah, a friend of mine. We were laughing about it the other day because he gave it to me, and we're like, "Remember that night?" And I said, I've never been so ill. I think I was vomiting for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Right. Because then you read the label and it was simply so you could stay out and drink more.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're thinking, and you're drinking such a massive quantity of alcohol on a Saturday anyway. And up here, you're like, I can't go home. I don't want to miss something. So the addiction wasn't just the alcohol. It wasn't just being around certain people. It was the environment. It was the pub. Because you kind of put it all together. What is it exactly is making you feel the way that you feel? Yeah, because I mean, when I came out of hospital, I still went to that pub. And there were a couple of reasons for it. One, it would have been pretty drastic to break my connection with that pub straight away. It was quite a safe environment for me, really.
Yeah.
Because my friends that I was drinking with were the friends that were sitting next to my hospital bed. Yeah. And then when I went back to the pub, they were saying, you do understand, we won't stand or sit with you while you drink. And then a good friend that was there the night I collapsed and was there the day I came out of hospital said, I won't stand in the pub if you pick up a drink. Right. So it was quite a safe place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as time has gone on, I've broken that relationship, and now I can just go there when I want to.
Yeah.
I can go there and see somebody just because I want to pop in and say hello. But then it's amusing when you turn up in your cycling kit, right, on a Sunday morning, and somebody has a go at you because you've done 75 miles on your bike, and they go, "No, look at you." And you think, "Oh, you're not happy about this now, are you?"
Exactly.
This pointing fingers thing, you know. But when you're in that environment, you can't see what's going on because you're part of something, or you think you're part of something anyway.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because obviously I recently read a relationship counselling book, and obviously these relationship counselling books, it's not just about couples, it's about relationship with anything and anyone, including yourself. And we've all got something called a self-esteem bank account. And when people are using that blame game, which is easy to do that, you're taking that money from that person, and you shouldn't be doing that because really, in the long term, you're blaming yourself.
I think when I mean, I've had it said to me, "Oh, you were a victim, were you?" If somebody actually knows what that means, yeah, because we throw that around as if you're going to be embarrassed. But
Yeah.
certainly, right. Since the day I said I'm not going to drink again wasn't quite the day. It took a bit more, but you've really got to say, well, do you know what? That whole embarrassment thing and worrying about what people are going to say are going to very quickly have to go. Yeah. And I said to my friend, we walked every morning. I said, that me previously wouldn't have been able to do that because it was difficult. And I was like, oh, this hurts. And, that idea I had of who I was couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But the big one was going to the gym.
Yes.
To actually join the gym, walk into the gym and say, do you know what? I don't care what any of you say.
Exactly.
Yeah? And then it was actually, I mean, I bought a road bike, and my other mate said, "Do you know, it wasn't a bike. It was the fact you had to wear lycra." I said, "Yeah, because the thought, right? Because I had all these ideas of who I was and these attachments to things, and yeah. And if we are going to get over these issues, yeah, all that stuff, we just got to let it all go. We've got to find out who we are.
Yeah, well, thing is, I'm glad you mentioned that, because with all those people, and I've said this a couple of times, where those people that bullied us, picked on us, brought us down, dragged us down, whatever, look at what we're doing today. Because of those idiots then doing that, is giving us the opportunity to do what we do today.
Well, you know, I've said it, right? I mean, I got many stories to tell, but what I've never wanted to do is try and character assassinate anybody. Right, which is why I say the relationship in work wasn't good, and right.
Yeah.
I take responsibility for my actions. I've held my hands up, yeah.
Yeah.
Other people, they haven't, and it doesn't bother me, right? But I now understand that if I was in a good place, I would have looked at what they were doing very, very differently. Because here's the thing. One of them we sold the business because I just said I don't want it. Right, get rid of it. I don't want it. So one of them came to my father's house. He wanted money. We owed money, right? And we started talking. And this is the day he said, "Oh, you would." I said, "You were doing. You know, it was virtually illegal, mate." And he was like, "I didn't like what you were doing." And we laughed about it, right? And I just went, "Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's gone. It doesn't matter anymore." Right? Because the only thing that's changed is me. Because he's still saying, "But it was your fault." Right? And I'm like, "But you know what? I don't care anymore. I can't care." Right? Yeah. I'm not. See, so because I'm like, I did what I was doing because I was in a certain place. I was projecting my anger at the world into that office space.
Yeah.
Right. But when I went to see my counselor for 18 months more, 2 years, the moment he told me your business partner has a problem, I said, it's his fault, not mine. So I blamed him.
Yeah.
Because I'd not taken responsibility.
Exactly.
I couldn't admit that my behavior was basically based on my thoughts or my unconscious behavior.
Yeah.
Right. So if our midbrain or our limbic system, it's there to keep us alive. But this is a bit of an odd one, because I'd be like highly stressed with a customer, whatever, and I'd be thinking about going back to that office to sit with these guys, and I'd be like, oh, the thought of it. And all I wanted to do was get to the pub, and I wasn't doing an awful lot of thinking about it. It was like autopilot. Get to the pub. And then I'd have a moment where I'd be thinking, I know this is going to cause you dramas now, isn't it? Right? And then the little thing would go, I'll just go to the pub. Forget about it. Right? So that whole thing of drinking, and I've long gone with excuses, right? What I've tried to do, I've tried to work out what went on in my life so I can share it with other people, so they might actually think, oh my God, that's happening in my life.
Yeah, so in reality, we are all living, I wouldn't say the autopilot method, but I'd say we're all living in that fight or flight mode.
Well, when I look at certain people, they've gone as high as 80%.
Yes.
Certainly 75%, 80% of people in Western society are chronically stressed.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have created a society where we are so overly concerned about the guy's car next door and what their front door is like, and they've just had the house painted and what he's got on and what he looks like and how much money he's, right? We've created this environment and we just can't cope with it.
No.
That's aside from the lives and the children and all this other stuff we've got going on. We're just highly stressed.
Yeah.
And I said this one day, and the guy said, "Oh, that's just a statistic." I said, "I can believe it." Right? So if we are living 95% of our time from the program, the subconscious, unconsciously, only 5% of the time is running from our conscious mind, where we're actually making choices to change your life. You've got to change that program. Exactly. If you don't change the program, nothing will change. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying about it's normalized, isn't it? Our behavior is just what we do. So we walk through the door, we go into the fridge, we get a bottle, we just do that. Right? But to change our behaviors, we have to become aware of what we're doing. And if we genuinely believe we aren't drinking too much, then we need to modify that behavior. We'll soon know if we've got a problem because we won't be able to modify the behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, right? I mean, what I'm saying to people is, I do not believe everyone's an alcoholic.
No.
Right? I just don't. Right? And I'm watching neuroscientists that are saying brain scans prove this. Yeah. So, but what I am saying is, if you get to a point where you have that, the light bulb moment, I really have got an issue here. There's only one choice. Yeah. I mean, I was with doctors. Yeah. I mean, I've been very fortunate. The care I've had has been amazing. But I was with the head doctor guy, and I only saw him once since I left the hospital. And he was saying, "How long's it been now? You're looking fit." And he was the guy that told me I wouldn't be able to gain any muscle, because of the damage to my liver. So I said, "Sorry," and he said, "You're looking fit." I said, "Oh, thanks very much." And he went, "You got nothing to prove." And he said, "How long's it been?" And I said, "Oh, it's 4 years. It's back 2018." And he said, "Oh, that's good. That's good." And I said, "Well, my relationships, I've rebuilt the relationships with my family, with my old friends. I've made new friendships. I'm doing it." And he's going, "Oh, that's amazing." He said, "Because we hear this a lot." He said, "But what happens is the next thing we send out an appointment, or we try and get hold of the people, and they're drinking again." Yeah. And I see this a lot with people, that they've gone 90 days. This is why I talk about it so much. They've gone 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, something happens. And because they haven't got to the reason why they were drinking in the first place,
they're back to square one again.
They drink.
Yeah.
Right. So, and this friend of mine, I gave him a book, and he said, "This doesn't scare you, does it?" I said, "Oh no, I can't afford for it. I can't afford to be scared of it. I will find out everything that I need to find out about me. I'll integrate every part of me that I've pushed away, that I've disowned. Yeah, I'll put my hands up and say, do you know what? Some of the choices I made, I mean, I lived with them. I wouldn't let them go. I couldn't let anything go. It's only in the last few years that I've literally been able to smile and talk to people and things that for years I was like, well, oh God, I don't feel comfortable, and overthinking things and pining over people, and right. But if you're going to get away from any of these addictive behaviors and alcohol, because I mean, what we have to realize is it isn't the particular substance. It's what's happening internally with the chemicals we have, the neurotransmitters and chemicals.
I would say the real addiction to all of this is our actions.
Yeah, but see, we get when we have an experience, we get a chemical reaction, if you like,
Yeah.
So whatever we are doing, if it flicks the switch to say, yeah, you really like that, and then it's glutamate, I think it's called. So that goes hand in hand with dopamine and registers where you last got that sort of dopamine hit. So it associates your behaviors. You're going to have this. That's where you got your massive thing, your rush of dopamine.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And we'll always go towards that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I am said a lot, because for a long time I was doing videos and that, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm just going to be judged. I didn't ever want to sound like I was trying to make excuses. Because if I was making excuses, I'd be dead, 100%. Because this thing of health, right? If we look at health holistically, because it has to be looked at, that
Yeah.
we can't break it up. Which is,
No.
I mean, I speak to my GP now, and he's an amazing guy, right? He's an absolutely amazing guy. But I'm like, that's reductionism, yeah? And I'm talking about energy and the whole holistic thing, and he's looking at me and he's like, wow. I'm like, I'm no doctor, right? But I've looked at it and it seems to have worked. The way I've looked at my health overall has worked since I stopped drinking.
Yeah. I agree. I really do.
But it's not what we're taught. Although anyone that's looked after themselves will understand how it works. Because I was talking to my mate again yesterday, and he was like, yeah, I was like that when I was boxing and lifting weights.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, you're not being judged by us. You're not. And I believe your recovery is actually talking about your experience.
I can't not share it, can I?
Exactly.
We've
all got experience. We've all got a story.
Everyone, well, there's very few of us that haven't had a trauma.
That's true.
There are few of us, and certainly we're all, we could all walk into an addiction tomorrow, but we don't like to see that. That's for them, not me. Yeah, and this is what I talked about previously. I talked about, the whole thing of, oh, I'm highly stressed. I'm a director of a business, and so that's my reasoning behind me drinking and those practice, right? So we'll self-justify, and we'll justify anything. Yeah, and we really must stop doing that as well. But I'm well past what people think. What we're doing here, right, is far more important than what people think of us.
Yeah,
it is. You can't not share, because people that don't want to hear it don't want to hear it, and then they want to judge you. Where there are other people out there that will want to hear it, and I put a comment into some groups and that, and some people will say, well, thank you so much for sharing.
Exactly.
And I'll put a post into a group, just something with cycling or whatever, and they'll say, oh my God, amazing, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Because that gives us the hope that because they're still asking questions. Some people are asking questions like, am I going to be like this in 4 years? You think, well, not if you don't want to be.
Exactly. We're all capable of being exactly who we want to be.
Anyone in the space will say that one of the first things, if not the first thing you've got to do, is drop this thing of worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
And comparing yourself to other people.
Exactly, the fear.
If you carry on with that, you won't do anything.
No, and as the saying goes, when you do nothing, you get nothing.
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
I like the way that it's not so much the fear of the unknown. I like the fear of the made-up known.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that one.
Yeah, and that's quite. I like when I hear that. I was like, oh, I quite like that, because invariably our imagination will fill in the blanks. So we'll make up this horrific scenario, and it'll never happen, or we'll make the worst case thing where potentially it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, you can post anything regarding your journey in the Mental Health Warriors group at any time. That's not a problem.
I will. Yeah, I will.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's pretty much it. If you've got one last piece of advice to give to people, especially young teenagers who are still vulnerable regarding all this and exposed to all these substances.
What did a friend of mine say yesterday? You can't lie and say, oh, you won't enjoy the experience, right? Because that'll give this false sense of I'm going to do it anyway and whatever, yeah. But I think what you say to somebody younger is be very careful and be aware of how you feel when you do whatever you do, right?
Yeah.
If it's changing the way you feel and you really like it, then you've got to think about, well, what is it then that I'm trying to move away from?
Yeah.
Right. And really be very aware of the pressure and your relationship with it. And that can be, I mean, I had a conversation the other day about social media. Yeah. With a guy I know, and his partner and her daughters. And I said, don't believe it. Yeah. And they were like, oh, what do you mean? I was like, do not believe it. Don't get caught up in it. It's not real. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more pressure, and then it puts more pressure on them to get into that world of, because we are talking about addictions on huge scales, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah. And I'm talking to people about what they in their groups and that are talking about. So it's different to when we were kids, talking as we were walking along the street. There's gangs of kids in group chats now, all saying about what they're doing, and you can't see their face, you can't see,
and laughing about it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like anything, isn't it? To be a keyboard warrior is very easy.
It is, of course it is.
We can quite easily tell people, oh, I can drink this much and I did this and I did that, where you haven't, because they can't see by your body language and your face, your expressions, that you're not actually being upfront.
Exactly.
But I mean, there's one word, isn't it? It's relationship.
Yeah.
Be very, very aware of the relationship you have with it.
Relationship and responsibilities.
Responsibility.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Responsibility to somebody that is a bit younger, maybe a bit of a word that they like. But if you, like we were talking about the French, yeah, if you're not going to necessarily stop people drinking. My parents tried to stop me. It didn't work.
No.
Right? And my mother, in the last couple of years, I wish I'd never done. I said, go away, because that's irrelevant now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about this, don't treat it like it's a toy. It's not a toy.
No.
Good to speak to you.
Exactly.
I'll do that. Exactly. I'll post it to the group.
Brilliant. Right. Yeah. All I've got to say is thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I know Kerry will be back at some point. She's a warrior. She really is. A bit of housekeeping. We have got tomorrow, 8 p.m. Dale Walsh is back with Straight Sin and Sober. I love that name. I really do. I don't know who his guest is. I can't think. But I'll be back Thursday night. Warriors of Attraction special. We're talking about the history of mental health. That's what we're talking. And you'll enjoy that, Jason. You really will. Because we've got people from different ethnic backgrounds coming on.
What time?
That'll be 8 p.m. Thursday.
Okay. I'll have a look.
8 p.m.
Right. I'll have a look at it.
Brilliant. Right. I will end with the video and we'll see you again.
Awesome.
See you in a bit. Bye.
Bye.